Time for cupboards and a desk now. It's going to be a small cupboard there, a pair of doors on it, a TV above it, then a full length cupboard, just 2 doors, and then a desk around there. It's going to be pine stained in a sort of dark oak, walnut almost colour. Shelves in there. There's no plan. I'm just going to build it as I see fit. And these cupboards I was going to build on site, but it's freezing and it's going to snow today, so I'm going to build them here. And because I was going to build them on site, this wood wouldn't have got planed, it would have just been straight off the shelf. And these shelves are going to be slightly rustic anyway, so I'm just going to select the best I can out of this and put it together with dominoes. It's just going to be a frame with inset doors with cabinet hinges on. And I've got some detailed drawings here. Just the distances between the alcoves and the height, that's all I've got. There's my 2 frames. This big one is for the central cupboard. That one's going to be this way round. I've chosen my faces, ones with the least knots mainly. This is going to be down at the bottom. I might put a little skirting around there, but because it's at the bottom it'll be okay. A slight dent there. I think I'm just going to see if I can sand that out. Now I'll join it together. Put 2 dominoes in each of the corners. Now we're using 10mm dominoes. Set at 50mm because they're 100mm long. 15. This timber's about 30, 32. So set at 15. And I'm using the first and the third working off this edge. So that's the first, and then the third gives me that one. It's only a few degrees in here, so I've had glue sat in a pot of hot water. All the joints are cut, all the dominoes are cut. I'll get them glued together. I'll leave them overnight to dry. I'm just sanding the face. It's got planing marks on. I don't think this camera will pick it up, but I don't want them showing through. Right, I put some timbers on the inside. I'm using overlay hinges which needs a rebate for them to sit on. I could use inset, but I sort of want that rebate. And that's just a timber and another timber, just glued and pinned on. There's no bottom going in this, so I've let them run through just to make them look a bit tidier. Then on here I've just pinned that on. There's going to be a stop bead sitting on top of here, but I think I'll just temporarily pin that at the moment, fit it properly when I get to site. I'll do the same to the big frame. And I've just had to go and get my boss stitch out of the van. I bought this a little while ago. The idea was I could have this in the shed and that one in the van, so I didn't have to keep going out to the van to get me nail guns. But the nose on it, I think it's just cold. It's nearly freezing in here. The nose isn't going in properly, and it's got such a fat nozzle that if you put it at an angle, and because it's not going in properly, every other nail that the head is just showing through, it's not sinking them in. So I've had to go around hammering it, which isn't good. But like I say, I've just had to go get the Bostitch. No problem, it's been out in the van, freezing, fires perfectly. I sort of regret buying this a little bit. Should have just got 2 of them. I don't think the price is that much different. I keep them all pretty clean and oiled, but a bit disappointed by Makita for that one. And if you look at the nose of that one, this is pine veneered MDF. They class it as 19mm. The other one's a bit different. See, the other one's got a bit more grain on it. You can't see. After ripping it to width, I used my square. This is a homemade square, a bit of hardwood, a bit of ply, and I know that it's pretty square. It's as square as any square that I've got. After squaring one end, saw me spin it round, and then rather than squaring this one, because you might be 1 millimetre or 2 out each time, I measured up like that, and then cut it as accurately as I could to that line. Then, if that isn't square, at least it's parallel top to bottom. So your doors might be rhomboid, I think it's called, you know, where it's slightly on piss, but at least it's parallel, so all your joints should line up. I'm going to sit this in the frame, see what it looks like, and if I'm happy, I'll just rip it down the middle. I'll make some marks so that I know which is which, but I'll just rip it down the middle. Right, I'm fairly happy with that. Like I say, this gap, it's slightly bigger at that end than this end, but if you go up here, it's got a gap to nothing there, and that, the amount that it runs out, to me looks very similar to that one. I could push this frame, put some wedges in to check it, but I think it's okay. So I'll rip it down the middle, just make a couple of little pencil marks across, or on the bottom probably, because I don't want to mark the face. And I'll do the same to that one, cut a piece to fit, so it's got an even gap all the way around, and cut it down the middle. So something like that. I've cut it down the middle. I like to do it like that because if you don't get it absolutely straight, it doesn't matter, they still join up, still match, grain matches. You could have one smaller than the other, funny angle, wiggle, whatever you wanted. I'll do the other one now. When I bought this saw, it came with 2 1400mm tracks, which is there, but 1400 for a 1200mm board just isn't quite enough. So after a little while, I cut off 300mm off one, fixed it to the other. That stays on there permanently, So now I've got a 1700mm track for doing across 4-foot boards. I've got a shorter piece. I guess this will be 1100. Yep. Which is good for doors, little bits like this. And then I knew that joining these tracks together, unjoining and joining them, would really annoy me. I bought the 3-metre track. So a combination of these 3 pieces seems to do me quite well. Same again. Got a relatively even gap all the way around. I'll tidy up when I fit the doors. I'll cut it down the middle. I'll drill a couple of little tiny holes in the bottom here, so that I know that which way around they are. You can't really get them wrong, but don't do any harm. I've cut that down. You can see there's 2 little marks. You see my table's a bit taken up at the moment. I forgot to cut some stop beads, so these are just temporary ones that I've tacked on. I'll cut some proper ones later. Now I'm going to cut in the holes for the hinges. I've got to put recessed handles in here, finger pull handles. So I put a couple of pencil lines across just so I can pair them up. I've put marks at the bottom as well, but visually it's easy to see that. On here I've done a little test cut, piece of scrap, and this piece of timber is an offcut of this stuff that I put on here, so it should be the same. You want to set your adjustments to midway, so that's central in and out. That is central in and out that way for that gap. So when it comes to it, you've always got a bit of adjustment either way, in or out, up and down. And this one moves the hinge up and down. I don't need to adjust that at the moment. These are the larder doors. These are the tall doors, that's the face. This one I've turned over so I can do the hinges. I bought enough to put 4 on, but they're quite narrow doors, so I think I'm just going to go 3. It's a bit higher up than I'd like. I'd prefer it about there. But then that would mean I'd have to put 4 in. So 100mm up, 100mm down, and then 1 in the middle. Now I'm going to cut the finger pull holes in the middle. That's the centre. Now I've just gone 100mm up and down, so it'll be about that big. Centre to the door, that is. I'm going to use this cutter. I've used it before. Just set your depth and cut using a fence. Now I've just done a couple of test runs. This one was just setting me depth, and this one's how deep I'm going to do it. You have a gap like that in your doors, and I can just get my fingers in. That's all you need, otherwise it starts looking like a big gaping chasm. Right, with them lined up, I've got to match them up now. You see, I could just have to take a fraction off that one and a fraction off that one. And I'll do. Just give them a bit of a sand. And that's the little one. I just went at centre and that big. No specific sizes. I'm going to rub my pencil marks out. It's easier sometimes to rub them out rather than trying to sand them out, because I'm going to give it all a sand, but you might sand that bit a bit more, and if you're staining it sometimes that can show. So